Okay, so let's get started with Miss Carol this morning. She's been our strategic planning facilitator several years, 4 or 5 years, and she's an awesome person to interact with. If you're kind of down and out, boy, she'll energize you in a second. So it's good to be around people like that make you feel good, that give you great ideas. Carol has a background that's just unbelievable. She's an internationally recognized the executive Lion trainer. I love that. She's got an education from psychology degree from UCLA. She's has certificates, including her coaching certificate. It's endless. She's a great person. She's a great mentor. She's a great, what can I say? She's just great. So Carol, show them how great you are.
You're
Welcome.
So beautiful. You're like family to me. It's been so
I know.
long.
I miss you.
I miss you all. Thank you for inviting me back and for making this happen. It's really wonderful to see you. So yes, I'm the executive Lion Tamer. So what I do is work with toxic personalities. So I work with CEOs and surgeons and lawyers. And yes, some folks in the real estate industry have big egos and they get in their own way and they're just really difficult to work with, and nobody wants to tell them that. And so they call me because I don't mind working with them. And plus they're really great people. They just get in their own way, But yeah, that's why they call me the executive Lion Tamer. So thank you for having me. But today we're going to talk about how to keep your mind and body focused. Right now with the anxiety being so high, it's at an all-time high. We're like 88% more anxious than usual. And my clients, I know, are very anxious. Their staff are anxious. We've got so many different scenarios going on all over the place. I know with you guys, I've spoken to some of you, and life has changed dramatically for some, and I know that it's not easy. So what I'm gonna tell you is what works for my clients, especially now, and you take what you like and you discard the rest. And this is what's helping them keep focused. It's what's helping them keep their sanity, especially now that we just don't know what's around the corner. And I'm going to give you several different things. And before that, I'm going to just tell you a disclaimer because I'm not a doctor, even though I work with a lot of surgeons. The stretches that I'm going to give you are really a result of years of, working with my clients. And I used to run, and I still do, but not as often, a CEO athlete program wherein I take care of their physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual parts of my clients. And I partnered with doctors at Yale to bring programs like that to the leaders. But, common sense is don't do anything that is uncomfortable for you. So as we go through this today, I don't want you to do anything that hurts you. Don't stretch too much. So just make sure that you do what's comfortable for you. And the information I give you today and what I show you today is not a substitute for any professional medical advice, diagnosis or treatment. These stretches don't supersede or replace the doctor's opinion. Okay, so please consult a doctor. Before doing anything at home. I do have to say that. And then I also want to say that Tigar, this organization that I'm speaking for, or myself, we're not liable for any injury that might happen if you stretch a little bit too much. Okay, so I just want to say that. Do not hold us liable for that. Okay, so there are really 4 places that we get our energy from. Anybody know where those 4 places might be? Where do we get our energy from, guys?
Other people?
Yes, other people, definitely. We've all been there when somebody walks in the room with like mucky energy. We feel it. Yes, Lisa, thank you. What else?
Thinking, what you think,
yes,
your
our
attitude.
Yes. And our thoughts are created from our beliefs, right? What we believe really creates our thoughts. What else? Anyone?
Maybe places.
Tell me more, Jessica.
Like if you're on a vacation, I feel like you would have a lot more energy than if you were at home, possibly.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
I don't think you're going to like lay around while you're on a, I don't know, vacation in a resort or something.
Yes, yes, I understand. Absolutely. Great energy. And then what you're also saying is that just being away from your normal surroundings and being at a vacation spot gives you renewed energy. Absolutely. And also, Jessica, what you're saying brings to mind music too. You know, when you listen to some music, maybe that you used to listen to back in the day.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, because
Right?
I think even in the car when you're driving somewhere and you're on a way to a destination, you know you need to get pumped, you need energy. Sometimes you turn the music onto something different so that you can create that energy.
It's true.
So your location, your sound, yeah.
It's so true. It's so true. It takes us back to certain places. And so there are 4 basic umbrellas that give us energy. So everything you all talked about is absolutely true. And they all fall under 4 basic umbrellas. The first one is physical, right? So when we get physical exercise, when we eat, right? That's all energy for our physical body. The next one is mental, right? That's what Jackie was talking about, right? It's the how we think. It's what we're thinking. It's what we're feeding our brain. The next one is emotional. It's how we're feeling. And then the next one is spiritual. Now, I really appreciated how you started the meeting. Now, I'm Jewish, and so I still appreciated it, right? Because I felt the spirit of it, and I really liked how it grounded everybody, and I really liked it. I really liked it, and I felt the unity of that, and I really liked it. But anyway, when I say spiritual, I'm not really talking about religion. I'm talking about your purpose, your mission for being here in this world. What is it that you bring to this world? Why are you here? What is it that you want, you know, after 120 years of you being here and people are showing up to talk about you once you're gone, what is it that you want them to say about you? What is the mark that you want to leave? That's what I talk about when I talk about spiritual, right? It's why you're here. And so those are the places that we get energy from. And when we lose sight of any of those 4 things, we start to feel lack of energy. We you know, when we lose our purpose, and I'm seeing a lot of that right now with a lot of my clients. When we start to lose our purpose, we feel like we don't have any energy. And so what I'd like us to do right now is to just write down, I think all of you must have a pen and paper. I want you to write down the top 3 things that are on your mind right now. Just the top 3 things that you might be carrying right now in your backpack that maybe you don't need to be carrying with you, just that are kind of challenges or that are weighing you down. Just 3 things. Just write them. They'll be there after this, but just write them down right now. Okay. And the reason why, well, actually, I'm going to ask you, why do you think I had you do that?
To focus.
Thank you, David. It's so nice to see you.
You too.
Thank you. Yes, to focus. A lot of times we hold on to so many things and we can only hold so much in our cup that we can't take anything new in. And so we need to let it go, at least for a few moments, so that we can pick it up later. And so, yes. And honestly, we have the capacity to hold a lot, but we tend to focus on the things that weigh us down. And most of the time, we don't even need to hold on to those things. Our brain, and I want to explain this to you because this has a lot to do with what weighs us down and our energy. our brain is actually processing 10 quadrillion operations. Think about that. 10 quadrillion operations per second without you even knowing. That's how our bodies are surviving, right? Our hearts are, everything. What is making your blood flow, your heartbeat, your body temperature stay at the right level without you actually commanding it? I mean, what a miracle, right? So what is making your 6 trillion things do, to your 60 trillion cells every single second, right? What is actually the powerhouse of all of those cells and all of those operations? What part of us is that powerhouse? What do you guys think?
Brain?
Yeah. I'm going to throw it out there. Brain.
Brain.
That's what I said, brain.
Yes.
That's what I say.
Yes, your subconscious. Yeah, your
Ah.
subconscious is your powerhouse, right? Jackie, do you have a dog?
I did. I don't
Okay,
now.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Yeah, so for all of us who used to have pets or have pets, even our pets have the subconscious, but even our pets' brains cannot distinguish between a real event and something that they merely think about. In fact, there was a video, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but there's a video of a dog on a bed watching The Lion King, not the latest version, the early version. And he's watching the scene where Mufasa died. And he sees Simba kind of circling around Mufasa, and he starts whimpering. And he really started to feel it. He felt it. He felt that the dog died, or, the lion died. And so he doesn't know the difference between real and fake. And our subconscious many times doesn't know the difference between real and fake. And so what we feed our brain is incredibly important in terms of thoughts, in terms of what you read, in terms of the media you look at, in terms of everything you see. It's so incredibly important to your energy and to your well-being. And I know you all know this. I'm just here to remind you, because that is honestly, I think, the number one factor into who's doing well right now during this whole crisis that we're having and who is not doing so well. But let's dive into now the what makes you more productive during this time, and then we'll dive into stretches. If you want to be the most productive, studies are showing that if you work for 52 minutes at a time and take a break for 17 minutes, and we're talking about mindless things, right? So maybe Facebook or something where you get up and do nothing that takes mental brain power, that is where you're going to be the most effective. So do something for 52 minutes that takes brain power. Do something for 17 minutes that doesn't, something mindless. You can set up a timer, do whatever you need to do, but definitely start to take breaks like that. And also it allows you to focus, okay? Now let's talk about the stretches. You guys ready? We're gonna have a contest. I'm going to name the stretches. And at the end of this, I'm going to ask you, how many of you remember the names of the stretches? I'm calling them crazy things so that you remember them. And then we're going to have a contest to see who remembers all the names, okay? The first one, and this is the one that I start with every day, just from bed, you can even do it. I call it the stay or go. And it's the easiest one to just get your blood moving every day and to get you off on the right start. And you just start with standing and sitting. So you separate your feet and you stand and sit 5 times to get your blood moving. So easy. So you just literally stand up and sit down 5 times, and that's how you start. That is it. So 3, 4, and 5. And you guys are all welcome to do this with me, by the way. Okay, so that's number 1. Yeah, all right. So next one, please do them with me, okay? Because otherwise I'm gonna feel like kind of silly. So just start to do them with me. Number 2 is what I call love yourself. And so this one is while you're seated, so while you're working on your computer, you just cross your arms over your chest like this, you grab your shoulders, and you rotate your upper body from the waist, turning gently from left to right as far as feels comfortable for you. So you should feel tension. This is where your stretch is. You should feel tension on both sides of your lower back as it stretches out. Okay, so you just like this. And optional is turning your neck the other way. It gives you a deeper stretch. And you just hold it for as long as you can, and then you do the other side. And again, you can turn your neck the other way, and you really should feel it in your lower back. And it's really releasing that tension in your lower back. If you're feeling it anywhere other than your lower back, the stretch is something other than this. Okay? The next one is number 3. It's called swatting the mosquito. I call it this because mosquitoes love me wherever we go. My family, I am convinced, takes me on vacation just so that they don't get bitten, and I get bitten. So this is where you just pretend to swat mosquitoes, but you just hold on to the arm one time. So hold the one arm across the body, pull your elbow into your chest. And what this is the posterior shoulder. So you should feel your shoulder gently stretching. And you just pull it into you. And you should feel it again. You should feel it right here. And you just feel it here, and then also a little bit towards the back. So it's the posterior shoulder. And then you do it on the other side. And all of this, I mean, pretty much all of this you can do while you're seated. So even when you're on the couch or working or whatever it is. And this really does help my clients. So I'm only giving you the stuff that helps. Okay, number 4. Number 4 is what I call the I don't know. And the reason I call this the I don't know is because when my son, who is now going into a senior year of high school, when he was about 2 years old, every time I asked him a question, he would just say, I don't know. And he'd do this like cute little thing. And so it kind of stuck with him. So I call this the I don't know, because this is what the stretch looks like. And it's just literally just gently lifting your shoulders and letting them fall. But as you lift them, you want to tense them up just a little bit. So you just go like, I don't know, like that, and let them fall. And so the tension is being released as you let your shoulders drop. Okay, so hold it, maybe hold it for 3 seconds. I don't know if you guys are feeling it, but you should feel, especially if you hold a lot of tension around here, you should feel it around there. And you just, it's like, Sometimes I just tense the whole body and then let the whole body go. Even my eyebrows, it depends on how tense I am. All right, and then number 5. This is the one I call hand in water. If you type a lot, so if you find yourself, especially these days, typing a lot, this really helps. The hand in water technique is when you stretch your arm out, and you really have to be stretched out fully. Maybe I should do this way. Okay, so you stretch your arm out fully, palm down, and with your other hand, you want to push the hand towards you. Now, to get a better stretch, especially again, if you type a lot, you want to curl your fingers. So like, you want to curl your fingers in to get even more of a stretch. Okay, and if you can do this 3 times on each side, you should feel it all around here. I'm sure you guys have all heard like carpal tunnel, all of that. This really helps the carpal tunnel situation, and it helps to prevent that. So just push as hard as you can without hurting yourself. And then you just do it on the other side. And again, you want to curl your fingers in if possible. Let me know if it's hard to see, if maybe there's too much light on me. Okay. All right, so that's that. I'm not doing it 3 times on each side, but I'd like you guys to do that 3 times on each side. The next one is, this one's really funny because it reminds me of the chimpanzees. You guys know how chimpanzees fling their feces? You guys know about that?
What is it?
Chimpanzees fling their feces. You know that? You got
Yes, I do.
yeah.
Orangutans, definitely.
Orangutans.
Sounds like some experience.
Really, Jackie? What happened?
Some of the comments I said, it sounds like some people out there have some experience with that.
San Diego Zoo. We had a duck.
Oh my gosh. So here's the funny thing. So it's been known, or it has been known, that the reason they do that is because they're so angry. That's what we used to think, right? But my world is all around communication and employee engagement and getting people to act nicely, even when they want to be toxic, right? And so I have to do all this research all the time. And part of the research that I was doing led me to this research around chimpanzees and all of those families. And it turns out that now we see that the chimpanzees, and probably also orangutans, but this particular study talked about chimpanzees, that the ones that fling their feces and hit their targets are actually the best communicators. Do you have any idea why that might be?
Are they releasing stress?
Oh, that's good. That's good. I would say yes. That's actually a good point. That wasn't part of the study, Jessica, but I would say that would make you a better communicator. They're better at communicating because what happens is that communication, right? We process communication in the left side of our brain, in the left hemisphere. That's where the development of the motor cortex is. And so if they are hitting their target, they're also using that same side of the brain. So that means that it's well developed. So if that part of the brain is well developed, that means they're also great communicators. And it turns out that they really are. And so it's a great indicator that they're going to be the best communicators in their little, families. So anyway, this one is called flinging. So I always think of the chimpanzees. So this is number 6. It's called flinging. So again, with your arm stretched out, it's like you're going to fling. I'm not advocating you throw feces, please. But it's like you're going to fling something and your fingers are up. And remember that you have to be completely stretched out or it's not going to work, okay? Fingers are up and your other hand is pulling them back. And again, 5 seconds, 3 times on both sides. And you should be feeling it right around here, this whole area. Feels really good. So 5 seconds on each side, okay? Okay. All right, so now we're going to take a break from the stretches. Give me a time on this. How much time do I have?
I would say you probably have another 10 minutes, 15.
Okay, excellent. This way I know where to take it. Okay, so I want to give you guys a little bit of information on ergonomics. So these are the challenges that I'm seeing right now that I just want to share with you so that you don't have any injuries. Right now, the biggest challenges are 2 big things, really. Especially with home-based offices, which I think most, if not all of you have. Number 1 is your chair. So I'm seeing that most of the chairs are not suitable for long hours at work. Okay, they don't have the lumbar support. Now you don't have to get, like this gaming chair that I have, right? We don't need that. But
I thought maybe you were auditioning for The Voice.
I know, right? Let me go like this and then turn around.
That was easy.
So you don't need this, right? It's not, you don't need something like that. But what this does have, and you can use a pillow, is the lumbar support, right? The other thing that is really, really important that you really need to have is something that allows you, especially if you're short like me, you need some sort of a footrest so that your legs are at a 90-degree angle. So so when I do assessments and I look at my folks and I ask them to let me see their whole body, I notice that a lot of people are putting like their tippy toes on the floor and they're bending over. And so they're like hovering, causes a lot of stress on their back and their lower back. And that's not the whole problem. The whole problem is that stress on their back, if let's say they go outside and they go down some steps, now that can cause an injury where otherwise it wouldn't cause an injury. So there are a lot of problems associated to that. Okay. So when you're sitting down, make sure that your legs are at a 90-degree angle, especially if you're not tall enough, get a footrest and make sure that you have that. Your chair needs lumbar support. You need to make sure that you're sitting back in your chair. And if you're sitting forward, that you always have that kind of an L shape. It's kind of like, like the actual chair. The other big thing that I'm noticing that is causing a lot of problems for people is that they're using a kitchen table or some other substandard item as a desk, including their bed. So this is causing a ton of problems because what we're not seeing is that they're ergonomic. So what does ergonomic mean? I'm going to give you, thank you, Janessa, for all of that. So I'm going to give you an acronym, and the acronym to remember is NEW, N-E-W, so you can remember what to do with ergonomics, okay? The N stands for neutral position. So this is whether you're sitting or you're standing. You want to keep your neck straight, your shoulders loosely at your sides, your elbows at a right angle, your wrists straight, and your lower back, as I mentioned before, supported on a backrest of the chair. I used to have a little, it was like a round little pillow that I would put here before I had this chair, and that worked fine. Again, 90-degree bend at the hips and the knees, and we want to keep the feet flat on the floor. Use a footrest if you need to, okay? The E stands for eyes and elbows. The eyes have to be, so your computer should be right under your eye height. So the top of the computer monitor should be at or slightly below your eye height. Okay, sometimes I see this, so I see people on video and they're doing this, so they're looking down below, or I see this is causing a lot of neck strain. What we want is the top of your computer monitor to be at or slightly below your eye height, okay? And then lastly, the W. The W stands for work area. So what this means is that everything that you use often should be at your reach, right? So for instance, my easy button, this just makes me laugh. Right? My Mr. Bill, I never really use that. That makes me smile, so I just have it over there. So I don't need it to be at reach, right? My mouse, right here, always at reach. So everything that I use all the time has to be right here next to me. Everything else I can reach for, but that's what the W stands for. Your keyboard, your mouse, everything, pens that you need to use, don't reach for them. Make sure they're right there next to you. So that's what the W stands for, okay? Don't hurt yourself. Make sure you have everything right there that you need. And then just a couple of other things that really help for your eyes, especially as we get older. Our eye strain is really at an all-time, it's the worst it's ever been in these last few months, especially for my clients. So what I'm telling them to do, and it's really working, is to take micro breaks. And so especially, if they're writing reports, like my surgeons are writing reports, sometimes they'll be there for hours writing a report. And so what I say is take a 20-second break every 20 minutes. 20 seconds is not a long time. They could set their timer on, you could set your timer. But every 20 minutes, just a 20-second quick break, look at something else, and I want it to be 20 feet away. So look all the way 20 feet away, way down yonder, just for 20 seconds. And it gives your eyes a break. You just really need that because your poor eyes, you're just overworking them with the computer. And then the last thing is lighting. So many times we're working in lighting that is just too dark. And it's causing us to really have eye strain, and it's causing headaches, and it's causing us a lot of lack of energy. There's another word I'm thinking of, but I'm thinking in Spanish, but it's that drain, and we're just tired. It causes us to be just so much more tired. So to prevent that eye fatigue, make sure you have enough light. Natural light is great. I have this. They're not paying me to say this, but I got this at Amazon. Sometimes when I don't have enough light, I think it was like $10 or something, and it clips on to, a phone, a computer monitor, whatever it is, and it's this ring light, and it has different settings. But if I'm in a place, I don't want to blind you guys, but it has different settings, and if I'm in a place that needs a little extra lighting, I just turn this on, and it's just easy. But I always make sure that my clients have, I actually send it to them sometimes when I see that on Zoom they don't have enough lighting. Very, very important. Okay. All right. So that's it. Any questions about that before we get into more stretches? Any questions about anything? Is this helpful?
Carol, I do have
Yes.
a question.
Okay. Yes.
Most of the phones anymore have these blue light filters. It's supposed to be good for making it easier to sleep if you're working later on at night. Can you talk about the relevance of that and whether that kind of thing really works?
Yeah. I have it on myself. My kids have it on. I don't talk to my clients too much about that, I'll be honest, but I figure it couldn't hurt. I don't know how much it helps, John, honestly. But I have noticed that, when I do have to use my phone, like in the middle of the night, sometimes I forget to turn off my ringer, and I have clients internationally, and
Right.
then they wake me up, and I feel like because I have it on, it hurts less. I don't know. I don't know if it actually does help or if it's in my mind. That's a great question.
Thanks, Carol.
That's the honest answer. Thank you for that question. Any other questions? Okay, should we continue on with more stretches? Are those helpful? Yeah? Okay. Okay, the next one is Betty Boop. So when I was younger, I really loved Betty Boop. I liked her because I thought she was really smart and really sexy, and I just thought she was really cute. So I call this one the Betty Boop. And so this one, it's kind of playful. And so, she does the boop, boop, be doop thing, right? So I put my hands up, but you don't need to, just because I want to feel like Betty Boop. But it's kind of like you're doing the Charleston, and you keep your head upright, and you gently turn your head side to side. As you turn your head, you try to move your head past your shoulder. And what we want here is, I want your muscles on the outside of your neck to feel the stretch. You don't have to do your hands, right? That's just my silliness. So you can do boop, boop, right? I just get bored so easily, David, right? But so you want to feel the stretch on the outside of your neck. Now, I also sometimes feel the stretch on the inside when I'm not stretching well sometimes or stretching enough. But you just, again, want to do it for 5 seconds, as far as you can go, and you want to do it on both sides. You can really feel that on the external neck muscles. And again, you want to do that 3 times on each side. How does that feel?
Good.
Good, right? Okay. The next one is called The Baby's Kicking My Back. So this one is for some of us that have been pregnant. You sit straight. You know how like pregnant women, they like stand like this sometimes? So this one, you can sit straight with your feet together. I'm standing so you can see, but you sit straight with your feet together. And then you put your palms of your hands into the small of your back, and you lean back over your hands, feeling the lower back stretch out. So you kind of create this curve. Just pretend you're a pregnant woman going like this, right? And you kind of feel, you feel it right there in the lower back. And the important thing here is that your feet are firmly planted on the ground, because that's where your support is. And that your shoulders are kind of just hanging out, but also very straight and firm. And that's where you're going to get your lower back stretch. Okay? You guys are Elvis Presley fans? Yeah? All right, you know that song, Very Superstitious. Okay, so this is a little embarrassing. So sometimes when I have webinars, back to back, I have to do some of these stretches. And so this next one has me putting my hands underneath, one hand at a time, underneath my thigh. And it's kind of embarrassing when somebody walks into my office and sees me having my hand underneath my thigh. And so what I call this one is Very Suspicious, but it just reminds me of Elvis Presley's song. So what you do is you sit on one hand, just one at a time, and you tilt your head away from the hand you're sitting on. So I'm sitting on my right hand, and so I'm going to tilt my head away from that hand and slightly forward. So that's the trick, right? So it's to the side, but also slightly forward, because I want you to feel the muscles in your neck and shoulder being stretched. So it's to the side, but slightly forward. And make sure you're sitting on your hand. So it's your thigh, your hamstring sitting on your hand. And then once you're done with that stretch, you go to the next side and you sit on the other hand, and then you do it to the other side. And remember the trick here, because you might not get the right stretch. The trick here is not only to put your head to the side, but also to lean forward a little bit. That's where the stretch is going to give you the best bang for your buck. Okay, and then we have two more. So the next one is called the hummingbird. The hummingbird, well, do any of you have hummingbird feeders? No? Yeah?
We watch our neighbors.
Do you?
Yes, we have about 10 of them, thank you.
Yeah?
We had them and they took over our property.
Oh,
So we had
really?
to remove them.
Oh my goodness.
Warming.
Oh my gosh.
They were angry if we didn't feed them.
Yes, they get angry. You know what's cool about the hummingbirds is, do you know how they fly? Yeah.
Is that going to be our next exercise?
The hummingbirds are the only bird that they can fly backwards and upside down. Isn't that cool? So they are literally the only bird that can fly backwards and upside down. But yeah, so what we're going to do is you could do this sitting down too, or you could stand up. But basically, you're going to get a better stretch if you stand up, I'll be honest. But you stand up and you stretch your arms out behind you. You clasp your hands together and you gently lift your arms. You guys all know this stretch. I'm sure you've all done it. And you should feel your shoulders and your chest stretching. So you're basically opening up your chest and you're feeling it in your shoulders. Okay? The deeper you want to go, the arms, you have to raise your arms higher, right? So if you want to go deeper, you raise your arms higher. And it feels so good. And if you're not feeling it, you should stand up if you're sitting down. But again, the deeper you want to go, just raise your hands higher. Okay, this one's a really, really good one. Okay. And then the last one I'm going to share with you today is what I call money from heaven. So hold both arms above your head. Link your hands with palms facing upwards. Here, let me go like this because you can't see. So just pretend that I'm going like this. It's like this. Reach as high as possible and you should feel your shoulders stretching. If you want a deeper stretch, go backwards. So move them back. But remember, your hands are this way. So your palms are facing upwards. And so they're high, and then move backward for a deeper stretch. Oh, that felt good. Okay. So I wanted to share those stretches with you. I wanted to share the ergonomics. I wanted to share a little bit about how the mind and the brain all works together, and the energy, all of that. The last thing I want to share with you is on energy cycles. So we all have energy cycles. And Jackie, were you saying something? Okay.
I was agreeing.
Oh, okay. So the energy cycles, all I want to say about that is that we all have them, and they all might be different for the people that you live with. So some of us might have the most energy in the daytime. Some of us like early morning. Some of us might have the most energy at nighttime. This also goes for the team that you work with. So what I'm noticing is that now that more people are working from home and we have blended teams that way, that there tends to be a lot of conflict around people not being available when you want them to be. And so if you're noticing that that's happening at work or at home, let's step out of judgment and let's have a conversation around, when is your best time to work? When are you most focused? And maybe have a conversation around, that, and let's try and be flexible, and let's just talk about it. So that's what I wanted to talk about lastly, because we are all different, and we want to get the most out of each other, and we want to be flexible, and we want to empower each other and elevate each other to be the best that we can be. And we do that through understanding and stepping out of judgment and assumptions. And so with that, I'd like to say thank you so much. I hope this was valuable and that you learned something.